All right, welcome to the Young Turks. Cenk, Uygur, and Kasparian with you guys. Let's start out with a little bit of fun today. Snopes has debunked that I am a mastermind, which is a bit of a shame.
I mean, I could have done that for them.
So there was this absurd video online by Mr. Reagan that Anna already shredded on her show, No Filter, which you should check out.
Did I dunk on him? I dunked on him. Did you watch the video?
Not yet.
Of course.
But I'm a member of the Young Turks. I can watch it anytime I like. tyt.com/join to become a member and get all of our shows. It's like a progressive Netflix. Anyway, so seriously, in the video, this clown says, "Did you know that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is an actress?" So then Snopes calls him. They're like, "Do you have facts that she's an actress?" He's like, "Oh no, I made that up. I have no idea." He's
Okay.
they're like, what?
Jake isn't even really exaggerating about the way he talks in the hit video that he did on AOC.
And I'm not, look, if you're watching this later on YouTube or Facebook, we'll put the link in the description box as we always do. And I'm not exaggerating that he told Snopes, "Oh no, I have no idea that she's an actress. That's not true." So, but what's fun, like if some random dude did a video on YouTube and it got 1 million views, bless his heart, who cares, right? But that's okay, it is what it is, but do we have to go around debunking everything? But what happened next, of course, which is Sean Hannity's like, okay, and he went ballistic, he's on Twitter, he did a thing on a blog, he did it on his show, and because they're all conspiratorial nuts, right? They're all incredibly stupid. So like Sean Hannity is one of the dumbest guys in America. So he's like, "Oh, I bet she's an actress, and a politician that is an actor is just unacceptable. That's why my hero is Ronald Reagan." Wait. The dude who did the video, his channel's called Mr. Reagan. He has a mug of Ronald Reagan in there. Sean Hannity brags about Ronald Reagan all the time. He's an actual actor. Yeah. And he was picked by powerful, rich folks to play the role of that cowboy while he deregulated everything and so to the benefit of multinational corporations and lowered taxes on the rich. He is the conspiracy you've been looking for. Meanwhile, Ocasio-Cortez, what we did was we did a nominating process. They're like, aha! Going to the American people to try to find a politician that'll represent them. Yeah, that's what we did. In fact, we're doing it again. So Sean and Reagan and all you fellas, justicedemocrats.com/nominate. Okay, we're gonna do it again. Hopefully we get 12 more AOCs. Okay, so bottom line is, they're like, look, of course she's not an actress, this is preposterous. Do PACs sometimes help to find candidates? Yes, they do. And in this case, they're like, the video kept showing clips of them clearly saying in front of everybody what they're doing. If it was a secret conspiracy,
no, I mean, they
might not have shown it on the Young Turks.
That was my favorite thing about his video takedown of AOC. The entire time he'd be like, "I know this sounds crazy. I know it's hard to believe, but they actually openly talk about these things." And then they go to clips of you,
where
openly talking about the nomination process.
But every clip they used was kind of awesome. It
was.
It was like, oh, show more of that, right? And they're like, it's like me saying, we want uncorrupted candidates to take over the Democratic Party because Democratic politicians are too much influenced by money in politics. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening, right? And so. But the funny thing is, all you have to do is say it in a nefarious voice, because nothing he said was actually, other than her being an actress, which is false, was wrong, right? Like wrong, not as an inaccurate, but as in like a bad thing to do. They're like, they're trying to find uncorrupted candidates. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. But if you say it in that voice, the Republicans are like, "Oh, I knew it! The nefarious progressives and their clean politics." Okay, and at the end, since he's got absolutely nothing, they take a picture of Shoykat Chakrabarti, who founded Just Democrats with me and is now the chief of staff of Ocasio-Cortez, and he's got some Indian dude on his shirt. Honestly, I don't know that much about the guy, right? But they're like, aha, everything's a aha, right? So why aha on that one? Well, it turns out that he was anti-colonialist. He's Indian. What did you want him to be? Pro-colonialist? It's like, and they're like, he once had a bad quote. Now, let me just, last thing on this. If we wanted to do a secret conspiracy, why would we wear it on our chest? Okay, and if it's like a message to people, why would we hide it with like, hey, we're not gonna tell you what the real thing is, and we're never gonna propose legislation about the real thing. We're never gonna do the real thing. All we're gonna do is wear a shirt of a guy from 80 years ago who did something else.
Got him.
Bam! Okay, so.
By the way, the guy who put the video together, there isn't much information about him on his own YouTube channel, but it turns out that someone we work with actually knows him through the acting circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's an actor.
The guy who did the video is an actor, by the way.
He's literally an actor.
I'll give him a tiny bit of credit for this. When Snopes called him, he's just like, oh, no, yeah, I made up the whole thing. Yep, no, I'm an actor, that's right, yep. No, she's not an actress, I am an actor. Okay. Sean Hannity's like, what? So the downside of this is the video portrays me as the mastermind, and Shoykat's another mastermind, and Alexandra Rojas, who currently runs Just Democrats, she's another mastermind. Okay, she was 23 at the time. Why is a 23-year-old a mastermind of the 28-year-old at the time? Like, none of it makes any sense.
Don't be ageist. In some cases, younger people can be smarter than older people.
No, 100%. Yeah. But I don't know. But they never got to an aha because they never had any T-shirt on her.
That's true. Like, she didn't wear the right paraphernalia.
So is Alex like a secret billionaire looking to increase her taxes? No, they got nothing on it. They just like to go aha. Anyway, if you want to see me masterminding every day, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, okay, on tyt.com, we do the show, you could all watch. 2.5 hours of it is free. The last half hour is for our members, where the post game for the members only. You want to see masterminding.
Lots of masterminding happens.
Man, wait till you get a little. In fact, in one of them, we had all the Just Democrats. We had Rojas and Shoykat Chakrabarti and Waleed, and they were all on here talking about how they found AOC in the first place. The real story. Oh my God, wait till Sean Hannity becomes a member and watches that. His mind's good. Actually, one of our members, I think, bought him membership. He should redeem it and check it out. But for the rest of you, tyt.com/join, or if you'd like, tyt.com/trial. You can try it for a week free. And yesterday, we talked about Sean Hannity's favorite monster, Roger Ailes, and the grotesque things that he did in his life. You want to talk about a conspiracy? Yeah, Fox News was littered with them, including the chief conspiracy person, which was Roger Ailes. He's now, of course, dead, and we let it rip yesterday. So if you remember, check that out, because Ailes is a monster, and that's the guy who started Fox News, and that stuff is incredibly real.
We also talked about canine anal glands. So it was a lot of variety in the post-game show yesterday. So check it out. Anyway, all right.
Or as Mr. Reagan would say, canine anal glands.
Look, no, but more like this, Come to my one shot. Canine anal glands. He does a lot of that. Anyway, watch my no filter video on it. It was good. I break it down. Okay, you ready?
But it's hard to believe. Okay, all right, we gotta go.
Okay.
All right, let's do the rest of the show.
After Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez rolled out her ambitions for the Green New Deal, there was a lot of fear-mongering on the right about how the liberals and the progressives want to ban cows. Well, it turns out that Republican Representative Devin Nunez actually does want to ban one specific cow, and that's a cow on Twitter referred to as Devin Nunez's cow. Now, apparently there are a number of Twitter accounts that have been harassing him, making fun of him, mocking him, and it's really hurting his feelings. So he has filed a $250 million lawsuit against Twitter, and he is planning on going after them for alleged defamation, among other things. Let's hear from Nunez himself and what he has to say.
What we're doing here is we're actually going after Twitter first because they are the main proliferator and they spread this fake news and the slanderous news. The case we're basically making is this was an orchestrated effort. So people were targeting me. There were anonymous accounts that were developed. And look, there's not supposed to be, these accounts aren't supposed to exist. Twitter says that they don't have accounts that do this. But there were several fake news accounts whether it was regard to the Russia investigation or to me. And we have to hold all of these people accountable, because if we don't, our First Amendment rights are at stake here. This is part of the continuing Russia investigation. We're not going to just let all these fake news stories that were written about this investigation, about this hoax, that were lies. We're going to challenge every single one of them in court. We're just starting with Twitter.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, so let me give you some more deets, including more information about Devin Nunez's cow. The suit references various messages critical of Nunez posted to the defendant's accounts, as well as other accounts, including Fire Devin Nunez and Devin Nunez's Grapes, whose sole purpose was and is to publish and republish, tweet and retweet false and defamatory statements about Nunez. Now that's according to the lawsuit.
So there's a lot more to go here, and I have some devastating quotes. And I do actually have one part of the suit that I do like. That's a nice twist. But I'm gonna bust out. I gotta say, Devin Nunez, nobody thought it was your goddamn mom. Nobody thought it was your goddamn cow. Nobody thought it was your grapes. Nobody thought it was your grapes. He's like,
I kind of thought it was his grapes.
Well, look, there's this guy tweeting as Devin Nunez's grapes, but those are not my grapes, right? You're such a clownorama, man.
Okay, so if you bring forth a defamation suit, you have to prove damages, right?
Yeah.
So what damages are you gonna prove, Devin Nunez? Like, how did the grapes negatively impact your life in any way other than hurting your soft, fragile little feelings?
Yeah, he has soft hands, and I'm gonna say offensive things about him in a second. But I guess he would have to, in that case, prove that his grapes have been defamed. And his poor cow. He's like, my cow's reputation is never gonna recover.
I love that we have B-roll of cows.
I don't know if those are Devin Nunez's cows. I don't want to say anything about him. I don't want to get sued, Devin. Okay, so I'm not saying those are your cows. Look, for a sec. No, I got to give you another quote. I got to give you two quotes, and then we'll get to the heart of it. His lawyer wrote, in her endless barrage of tweet, Devin Nunez's mom maliciously attacked every aspect of Nunez's character, honesty, integrity, ethics, and fitness to perform his duties as a United States congressman.
I think he did that himself, to himself, pretty well, actually.
How phenomenal would it be if he actually, in a deposition, got the records of who it really is, and it turned out it was his mom?
That would be the greatest story in American history.
But I love that they accidentally wrote in a legal document that Devin Nunez's mom has been defaming him this whole time and questioning his honesty and integrity.
And then he takes his mom to court, but specifically to Judge Judy. That's really good entertainment. I'm just putting it out there.
His attorney also said, Twitter is a machine. Did the machine hurt your feelings? So look, guys, the conservatives' tiny little minds can't understand this simple concept. They're like, how come you let people say mean things about us? And then every once in a while, somebody on the right wing will say something mean about the left, and then you banish them. That's not fair. It's not fair. No, there are legal standards for things. So if you threaten violence, that is a problem legally, and so Twitter takes action. You're not allowed to threaten violence against other people. Just simply criticizing people is perfectly acceptable. That's called free speech. And especially if you're a United States congressman, the whole point of the First Amendment is to protect people when they criticize politicians like you. And so this guy is part of the right wing who says, free speech, free speech. I want to be able to threaten anyone I like. I want to be able to, say anything hateful, racist, bigoted. I want to be able to say it.
He's sick of political correctness.
No, we cannot have political correctness. But what is going on with this cow? That's not my cow, and it hurt my feelings. So no, they don't believe in free speech. This lawsuit is the epitome of Republican hypocrisy.
I can't believe that he thought that this would be a good idea. It's embarrassing. And
it's because he's profoundly dumb.
Yeah,
really dumb.
I believe it.
Like when he launched the suit, he was like, I'll show them that I'm a free speech advocate by crushing their free speech and crying all over social media about social media. And then I bet I get rich. I bet Twitter gives me $250 million. Good luck with that, Devin. Yep.
Yeah. So the defamation aspect of the lawsuit is only one aspect. The second one has to do with what conservatives have been yelling and screaming about since Donald Trump got elected. They believe that they are being censored or shadow banned on Twitter. The next video, Nunez talks about that in a little more detail.
They're regulating what people can see on my tweets, which they've done, and then they're proliferating out things that they agree with the algorithms that they develop. Well, how is it that every day there's conservatives that are being banned? So, look, they don't want to call it shadow banning. That's fine. They can call it whatever they want to call it. But the fact of the matter is people could not see my tweets. Okay. So now, but if you move forward, if you get emails from Twitter, it's constantly left-wing stuff. It's constantly fake news stuff. So I think if Twitter wants to be in the public square and they don't want to be a content developer, they should come clean, give us all your algorithms. How is it possible that I can be attacked relentlessly hundreds of times a day by fake accounts that they claim in their terms of service should not be there?
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I got to jump in first. I just came back from a trip in New York where I spoke in front of the UN about the harassment that specifically female journalists have to deal with, right? And so I get it, that harassment is out there. And for a lot of people, especially women in politics, that harassment goes to, hey, here's your address, I'm showing up to your house, I'm gonna rape you, I'm gonna murder you. So to be quite honest with you, if there were accounts that said things like Anna Kasparian's cow, I would be delighted and amused, okay?
Like that would be the mildest criticism we ever got from the right.
It would be fun and funny and I wouldn't care, right? Like it wouldn't be a big deal. Like the fact that he's so hurt, like he talked about the shadow banning part, but then he went right back to my feelings are hurt, my feelings are hurt.
Yeah, so I thought there was some chance he was gonna cry on air. Okay, we have to come up with a non-offensive term for what we all wanna call him, okay? And you know what this guy is, okay? It rhymes with snitches and stitches, and we got to come up with a new term, but this guy is that, okay? And everybody knows it. Going on TV to cry about his mom, okay? Not my mom. Okay, anyway, Devin Nunez's cow said such defamatory stuff as calling Devin Nunez a treasonous cowpoke and utterly worthless.
Come on. Come on.
You sued Twitter over that. You sued Twitter over that, okay? Okay, man, I got bad news for the right wing. If Nunez wins, it will be, now here's a great irony, utter destruction for the right wing on social media.
Utter?
I didn't even think about that. Okay, some people call me Big Pun, but I will sue over it. Okay, so anyway, because if Nunez wins and you're not allowed to criticize anybody on Twitter, well, the entire right wing would be wiped out on Twitter.
Gone.
All they do is like, you this, I hate you, and you this, right? Go on Twitter any day. Trump would be banned.
Gone.
He'd be the first one banned.
Bye.
Okay.
For see you later.
Criticizing, defaming, demeaning people? Are you kidding me? Donald Trump is patient zero. So what a joke you are, Nunez. Okay, so let me get to the one part of the, and I got to talk about shadow banning. Like conservatives, they always come up with these nonsense things like, oh no, like I can't prove that they're doing anything algorithmically against conservatives. You can't prove anything because you made it up. But I'll come up with a term called shadow banning. So it's in the shadows, so you can't see it. Yeah, but you did a lawsuit. You're gonna have to prove it. You can't. So you can't go to court and be like, Your Honor, this is nefarious. We have no evidence of it because it's in the shadows, but the shadow knows. That's not a legal argument. And there's no algorithm that says, okay, be against conservatives, be for liberals. It's not a thing, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
They don't understand social media at all.
So look, here's the thing. I think that conservatives who have public platforms go through the same thing that every social media user goes through, which I will admit, are frustrating. There are algorithm changes, and there's very little transparency about it. You don't understand the decisions that are being made. I don't want to see tweets from 5 hours ago. I want to see the most recent tweets in my feed. But they're constantly experimenting and doing things that they think is going to cater to you. And oftentimes you end up seeing things that maybe you don't really want to see. You want other content. I get that frustration. But this political talking point about how there's some sort of, censorship campaign against conservatives, and that Jack Dorsey of all people, the head of Twitter, is looking out for the progressive message. Please, come on.
Yeah, and get a load of another layer of irony of this suit. He says, now, I don't want Twitter shadow banning me, but I do want Twitter banning all of my political opponents.
I know, it's amazing, it's amazing.
He says it with a straight face, because he's too stupid to realize how ironic and hypocritical that is. And his lawyers are like, oh, you're gonna pay us a lot of money to do this suit, you're obviously not going to win. Oh, you're right, I can't believe they're shadow banning you. They should be banning your opponents. And you're a United States congressman. We've never read the Constitution. No, don't read the Constitution, don't worry about it. Okay, and these are the guys who claim to be constitutionalists. They're unbelievable jokes. So what on God's green earth is the part that I like about the lawsuit? Well, he's saying there are political operatives on Twitter who are, tweeting, retweeting, there's sock puppets, there's trolls, etc. Well, there definitely are.
Yes.
And almost all of them are our opponents. So I would love for those guys to be exposed. I'm not saying that we need to take legal action against it, but if in the depositions or in the discovery of that lawsuit, they found all the Republican operatives, all the alt-right operatives on Twitter, and yes, all the Democratic establishment operatives.
Yes.
Which they all exist,
yes.
Right? I would be thrilled. He would have accidentally done a great service. Are there any progressive operatives on Twitter bothering to, progressives don't have enough money for operatives, let alone paying social media people to go after Devin Nunez. Bernie Sanders got better things to do, man. He's got bigger fish to fry than worrying about your sorry ass or your cows, okay? But we know that Democratic establishment consultants in the primaries in 2016 did that, they admitted it. Mm-hmm. We know that Republicans do it. So if Nunez accidentally reveals all the people doing that kind of sock puppetry and the trolls, it'll be devastating for the Republican Party and for the corrupt part of the Democratic Party, which would be phenomenal. Yeah. Devin Nunes' mom will have done a great service to this country.
Yeah, definitely, and I agree with you on that. And for me, it's about doing a service, a great service to people who want accurate information, accurate feedback, or public opinion on news stories or policy. All of that stuff, unfortunately, right now on Twitter gets drowned out by the bots and the people who are trying to game that system to spread misinformation. So if he does unwittingly solve that problem, it would be amazing, but I'm not counting on it.
Yeah, and there is no place on planet Earth where the right wing is more vitriolic than on Twitter. Yeah. And so for a right-wing politician to complain that Twitter is too vitriolic and has hurt his feelings, again, height of irony. And they're never going to, see, they don't care. You'll get a story later in the program about how the Republican voters in Missouri hate that Roy Blunt was principled. Mm-hmm. They're like, we don't want you to be principled. We just want you to be a hypocrite. We don't care. All we care about is power. So
that's true, yeah.
And that's why we have trouble understanding right-wingers, because they don't believe in the same things we believe in, principles, logic, things like that.
When we come back from the break, Don Jr. tries to come after us, but we're gonna come after him.
No, he did. He went after the Young Turks, and we just explained Twitter to Nunez. When we come back, we'll explain Facebook to Donald Trump Jr. It's gonna take a while, because even his dad thinks he's one of the dumbest guys in the country. So we'll be right back. We hope you're enjoying this free clip from the Young Turks. If you want to get the whole show and more exclusive content while supporting independent media, become a member at tyt.com/join today. In the meantime, enjoy this free segment. All right, back in the Young Turks. There's so many comments, but I only have time for a couple of things. Jay Hufford says, why is being portrayed as a mastermind a bad thing? I'd love to be described as a mastermind. Major ego boost. Yeah, no, I know. I was amused by it. But the reality is, the reason they do that is they're trying to take credit away from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as if like she doesn't have any thoughts on her own. But by the way, if that of course that's not true. Most politicians are actually completely controlled by their staff. She is not. And I guess it's in a sense a compliment to her, because they think, well, she couldn't have possibly thought of all those great ideas on her own. So thank you for accidentally giving her credit. Onakazi says, next Nunez will be filing suit against the city of New York because he heard people making fun of him in Times Square. I wouldn't doubt it. Note to Devin Nunez, never go to Philly. Peace Blaster says, if the right wing loves privatization so much, shouldn't they love that Twitter, a private platform, can ban them? In fact, that's going to lead into our discussion of Donald Trump Jr. and his dumb arguments about Facebook in a second. But before we do that, quick announcement for you guys on membership. So a lot of the members asked that we break up the show into hour-long segments so you guys can get it quicker after the show is over. Because exporting, I know it's a technical thing, but it matters a lot because it makes a big difference on when you get the show. Exporting a 3-hour show took longer, and that's why you were getting it. So we switched based on what you guys said. And we're now going to do it 1 hour at a time. We began that recently, lots of great comments coming in. Sarah Hudd wrote in, thank you, this is a really good idea. I like to save up and watch post games on the weekends while traveling, so this is much better for me. Lindsay, my name 4, says, yes, I will get this. This will get us the show faster. I'm all for it. Thanks, guys, for always striving to be better and listen to members. Love you. Last one, GOT says, big thumbs up. Those file sizes are a pain in the bum. Australia here, terrible internet, just so bad. Thanks, team. Keep up the excellent work as always. I thought you were saying that you were saying that you were from Australia to explain the usage of the word bum, right? So, pain in the bum. Anyways. Yes, guys, you tell us what to do and we try our best to do it. Sometimes you gotta give us a little bit of time. By the way, I know some of you like it as a whole 3-hour package. We're working on that too. We're trying to fix both problems, and soon we'll have a fix for that too, so you can get the whole 3-hour version as quickly as you can. But for now, this has made the process much, much faster. So tyt.com/join to become a member, get all of our shows now very quickly, and watch them whenever you want. You can download it or stream it, audio or video. Okay, what's next, Anna?
Donald Trump Jr., an individual who gets all sorts of attention anytime he tweets or has anything to say, recently wrote an op-ed for The Hill titled, "Conservatives Face a Tough Fight as Big Tech's Censorship Expands." So this is an ongoing talking point by conservatives. They allege that they're being censored by social media. And Don Jr. writes the following: mainstream conservative content was strangled in real time, yet fringe leftists, such as the Young Turks, enjoy free reign on the social media platform. He is right. We are definitely given way more power than he is.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what can I do? Much more powerful than the president and his son and his family. Okay, so we have free reign.
Free reign.
YouTube, Facebook, Hulu, Roku, all the other platforms we're on, Pluto, Zuma. We have free reign. Okay.
And by the way,
let there be rain. Okay.
We have a pretty sizable audience considering we're considered fringe.
Yeah. If 250 million views a month is fringe, well, but the conservatives do this all the time. Medicare for all, it's a fringe idea. 70% of Americans are in favor of it. Green New Deal, radical fringe proposal. 81% of Americans are in favor of it. Getting money out of politics, nobody wants to do that. 93% of Americans want to do that. Federal background checks, only for the fringe radicals in New York City and Chicago. 97% of Americans want to do that. So the reason we're monstrously large and have, and they would agree with the adjective used there, and have attracted the attention of these folks is because people kind of like us. We have a popular message. And we started out with no money. We started out in my living room. We had no advantages, we had no tech, we had no engineers, we had no marketing budget. And we grew organically because the country is ready for that message. It isn't about us. It's about that progressive message. And so Don, of course, in his tiny, tiny little mind can't absorb that. So now let me address the substance of his preposterous claims. He says, Facebook is oppressing conservatives and giving liberals free rein. Well, conservatives love to be victims, and they love getting triggered.
It's the oppression Olympics.
Yeah, it is. And so, oh my God, there's a war on Christmas. What have they done? You know what one monster said to me the other day? He said, "Happy holidays." Okay, God, man, you guys are you're so precious. You're so precious. Okay, anyway, again, to the substance of this particular issue, he literally might not know, one, because he's not very bright, two, because he does no research, just like his dad, that Facebook does not give your content to all of your followers. They don't do it for you, they don't do it for us, they don't do it for anybody. And so if you're a regular person out there and you don't know that, that's okay. You don't work in the media industry, you don't work in politics. And my guess is most people don't know that. But everybody in the industry knows that. And so the number ranges, but it can range all the way down to, for any particular post that you put up on Facebook, only 7% of your followers could see it, 12% could see it. And sometimes what the algorithm does is it serves it more if it's popular, if it's getting, and they use different metrics, comments, likes, etc., engagement,
right?
Where the computer says, "Oh, these are real people engaging and enjoying this content, so I'm going to serve it to more of their audience."
Can I jump in for a second? And part of the reason why Facebook does this, where they only serve the content to a small portion of your followers, is because they want to give you an incentive to do what?
To boost the post, to advertise on Facebook,
to spend money,
spend money on Facebook. So look, if you want to complain about that in general, okay, fine. A lot of people do, and all the way up to the New York Times. And so, but if you, because you think you're so entitled, should have 100% of your audience see your posts, but everybody else should have 10% of their audience see it, that makes no sense. See, that's the problem with the conservatives. They view equality as oppression. They're like, wait a minute, I had all the privileges, I had all the rights, and I used to lord it over you. Now we're gonna be equals? And in the free marketplace of ideas, we'll get crushed. We're idiot conspiracy theorists. Of course we're not gonna win. Sad day for you. Yes, now we're equal, and that's why you're getting your ass handed to you on social media.
No, it is kind of amazing, because if there are stories involving unarmed minorities getting shot and killed by cops, and people are protesting about it, you'll have right-wingers point to the protesters and say, "You're not oppressed, stop with the oppression Olympics." But then the exact same people, I'm talking about Dave Rubin, will then go out and literally incessantly cry and whine on social media about how they're targeted, they're being censored, they're the real victims, they're really the ones being oppressed.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
So when an unarmed person gets shot, that's not a problem. When one race is targeted by law enforcement systematically, for example, I'll go, not only the unarmed black guys being shot disproportionately, but also we smoke pot at the same level, all different races, ethnicities in America. African Americans get arrested at 3.5 times what white people get arrested for the same exact crime. If you point that stuff out, like, hey, they're taking our literally taking our freedom away, destroying our lives, and sometimes killing us, they're like, oh, snowflake. You're worried about getting killed disproportionately.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Facebook didn't give my post to everyone that's my follower. I'm the real victim. You guys are pathetic.
And look, if you are concerned about censorship and you are concerned about protecting our First Amendment rights and our freedom of speech, I hear you. You should maybe look in your own home and figure out if you can solve that issue there first. So I bring to you Donald Trump's tweets just from this past weekend. Let's go to graphic 11. Nope, these are the wrong ones. But over the weekend, he tweeted to all of these late night talk shows that mock him and threaten them with federal investigations, including an investigation by the FCC and the FEC.
Yeah, so let me expand upon that. So Donald Trump Jr. talks about, he calls it big tech censorship of conservatives. Now, later in the op-ed, he talks about, I mean, we're having pedantic arguments about the First Amendment. I mean, really, I know Facebook's a private company, but conservatives don't care about private corporations. What are you talking about? That's what you told us for the last 50 years. All you cared about was private corporations. All of a sudden, yeah, I don't care that they're private. I don't care that the First Amendment doesn't apply to them. I want me protected, right? I need a safe space. I need a safe space. Okay, and you're talking about censorship. I mean, your dad said that the federal government should investigate Saturday Night Live and late night comedians because they made fun of him.
I mean, that's so sad.
That's one, pathetic. Two, that would be a literal First Amendment violation, attacking your political opponents because of what they said about a politician.
Your father demanded that NFL players get fired because, and I quote him, the sons of bitches are kneeling in protest during the national anthem.
And again, look, Michael Cohen talked about how Donald Trump was embarrassed at how stupid Donald Trump Jr. is, which is record shattering because Donald Trump is one of the dumbest men to have ever been in public office or in the public sphere, period.
Life,
yeah. And he's embarrassed about how stupid his son is, and you can see why in the op-ed because he just doesn't note any of the ironies that are all over this. He says there's no conservative principle that even remotely suggests we're obligated to adopt a laissez-faire attitude while the richest companies on earth abuse the power we gave them to put a thumb on the scale for our political enemies. No, that's actually their exact argument that Republicans have been making for the last 50 years, that we should be laissez-faire to private corporations, and that we should not care about if they're fair or balanced or anything along those lines. In fact, Reagan was the one who killed the fairness doctrine. So this is Don Jr., in a sense, arguing for the fairness doctrine. If you read the whole editorial, it talks about it. Social media has to balance things out. They have to balance out between things that are insane, like our opinions, and things that are sane and accurate, like climate change.
But that's not even what he genuinely means. You think that he cares about the perspective that disagrees with him? They would want to censor that perspective in a freaking heartbeat. That's the reason why I brought up Donald Trump's tweets and Donald Trump's attacks toward those who are expressing an opposite opinion. I mean, the fact that he consistently goes after legitimate news sources for accurately reporting that he's a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't like it, he wants to censor them.
He literally argued for, quote, viewpoint neutrality requirement for platforms. That's the fairness doctrine that Ronald Reagan, your beloved hero, killed. So, God, they have no sense of history or facts. And lastly, you better be careful what you're asking for here, okay? I'm gonna quote another part of the op-ed here and then talk about the implications. He says, Hawley, referring to Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri, who's a Republican, pointed out that big tech companies already enjoy sweetheart deals under current regulations. They make their malfeasance a matter of public concern. Oh, that's interesting. So if a company, a private corporation, gets quote unquote sweetheart deals from the government, then everything they do is a matter of public concern. Well, the big oil companies get sweetheart deals in terms of getting subsidies. The big banks got bailed out, get almost no interest loans from the Federal Reserve. And if that's your new standard, great. Because when a progressive becomes president, we're gonna have a conversation about if private corporations are getting sweetheart deals from the government, they are apparently, according to the Trump family, a matter of public concern. And the government can then regulate their businesses. Do we have a deal, Don? Do we have a deal? Because that would be an interesting deal. My guess is you guys would not be happy about that deal because there are actually terrible things that those corporations do that actually should be looked into, but you guys don't want to do that because those are the same people bribing you legally with all those donations to your daddy that actually got you into office in the first place.
By the way, come to me, I have the tweets now that I had promised earlier and I wanna make sure I read them to you. So over the weekend, Donald Trump tweeted this in regard to SNL mocking him. It's truly incredible that shows like Saturday Night Live, not funny, no talent, can spend all of their time knocking the same person, me, over and over without so much of a mention of the other side, like an advertisement without consequences. Same with late night shows. And then he says, should Federal Election Commission and or FCC look into this? So he threatens them with federal investigations simply because they're mocking him or making fun of him during these shows.
And one last thing, when he talks about, well, these platforms and these companies are given too much power and they put a thumb on the scale of for one political party, so they should be investigated. You know, another media corporation that puts a thumb on the scale for one political party is Fox News. So, Don, if you want that standard, we can investigate Fox News. So is that what you want? Or is Anna right? You don't mind things being biased in your favor. He says whenever anything is actually fair, it triggers you because you have that sense of entitlement. I should always have an unfair advantage, and this is outrageous that you expect me to compete on a fair battleground. Well, that is the current situation. That's why you continue to cry about it.
We have to take a break, but when we come back, a pretty incredible story regarding Donald Trump's ties with Deutsche Bank, a German bank that has lent him an insane amount of money.